The capture of the Bahamas took place in April 1783, late in the Anglo-Spanish War, when a Loyalist expedition under the command of Andrew Deveaux set out to retake the Bahamas from the Spanish. The expedition was successful and Nassau fell without a shot being fired. It was one of the last actions of the entire war. Background: the Bahamas had been taken by Spanish forces in May 1782. However, St. Augustine in East Florida was still in British hands, the Spanish thinking it too well defended to attack. A plan was devised to retake the Bahamas by launching an attack on Nassau. Andrew Deveaux was a Loyalist and veteran of the Southern theater of the American Revolutionary War. Recapture: Major Deveaux departed from St. Augustine with 70 followers and was joined at sea 2 days later by the 26-gun privateer brigantine Perseverance of Thomas Dow and the 16-gun 120-man brigantine Whitby Warrior of Daniel Wheeler. The expedition anchored off Harbor and Eleuthera on 6 April, recruiting another 170 volunteers for an attempt against the Spanish garrison at New Providence. 4 days later, the sloop Flor de Mayo reached New Providence with a message from the governor of Cuba, Luis de Gonzaga, saying that peace preliminaries had been signed back in Europe and that the Bahamas were to be restored to British rule in exchange for East Florida. When Deveaux's flotilla drew near to New Providence on 13 April, the Spanish commander Clarico mistook it for smugglers. His customs patrols were surprised at dawn the following morning to find a heavily armed landing party storming ashore to occupy Fort Montague and 3 guard boats. Clarico retreated into his citadel and a brief ceasefire was arranged. Deveaux rescinded it next day. The Spaniards scuttled their remaining warships on 16 April and huddled within the main fort, before deciding to surrender it 2 days later. Aftermath: over 600 Spaniards surrendered, and 50 cannon and 7 ships were captured. Some of the ships that had been scuttled were later refloated and the Spaniards were repatriated to Cuba. By this time, Britain had already given up East Florida in exchange for the Bahamas in the preliminary talks of the Treaty of Paris. As a reward for his efforts in the Bahamas, Deveaux was given a large portion of Cat Island, where he built a mansion at Port Howe, Cat Island, the remains of which can be seen today. Bibliography: Marley, David. Wars of the Americas. A Chronology of Armed Conflict in the New World, 1492 to the Present, ABC Clio. ISBN 0-87436-837-5. Creighton, Michael. Islanders in the Stream. A History of the Bahamian People. Volume 1. From Aboriginal Times to the End of Slavery, University of Georgia Press. ISBN 0-8203-2122-2. Chartrand, René. American Loyalist Troops 1775–84. Osprey Publishing. ISBN 1-84603-3144.